All right, guys, today we are talking a little bit about CyberPunk 2077. The game is finally out for everyone to play. The floodgates have opened, and this seems to be the most hyped game in history, apparently. And surprise, surprise, it doesn't seem to be living up, sadly. I am very much looking forward to this game, but after everything that I've seen and everything that I've read, I think I'm going to be passing on it, at least for now. I'm going to let you know why. We do have some not so great information about the game, and I just kind of want to talk about the entire situation. A lot of people have been asking me whether or not I plan to play this game, and I figured I'd let you know why I'm not going to, but also go over some of the reports that we're hearing and why people are taking to the internet with memes, as well as a lot of frustration for this game. So before we get into it, I do want to let you know I will be streaming the Game Awards tonight here on the channel at 6:30 p.m. Eastern. So come back, hang out with me. It's going to be a good time. I think there's going to be some pretty significant announcements during the Game Awards tonight. So that's going to be a good time. But I came across this interesting article from Eurogamer. It says CyberPunk 2077 launched at midnight last night, and now the console versions are out in the wild. We're getting our first proper look at the game running on PS4 and Xbox One. Early impressions are, unfortunately, not great. I've been playing the PS4 version of CD Projekt's Sci-Fi Epic and can report poor performance, including low frame rate and texture pop-in when the screen is busy. Even when it's not, there's on occasion a low-resolution blur to the visuals, and I've encountered multiple characters locked in a T-pose, frozen in place, or glitched into an object. You can still talk to these NPCs, but their mouths do not move. So far, it's not sounding too good. Continues here with saying, according to Morgan from Digital Foundry, I believe CyberPunk 2077 on PS4 looks very blurry, running between 720p and 900p resolution, and the frame rate for any driving around the big city areas is constantly at around 20. While some indoor battles run well at 30 FPS, they can drop to 25 FPS. Frame rate drops are one thing, but there's also hitching. Big hiccups in the action where a new object or texture needs to load in. This can make it a challenge to shoot or drive. Running the game on the PS5 via backwards compatibility does improve the matters to a degree. Certainly, the loading is faster and the frame rate is unlocked to 60 FPS, but the glitches, including the T-posing NPCs, remain. It turns out that CyberPunk 2077 on PS4 does not have the quality mode that is available on the Xbox Series X. That is to say, the game on PS5 runs in performance mode by default. On Xbox Series X, you can switch between the two. Quality mode shoots for a high resolution, something approaching 4K and 30 frames per second, whereas performance mode aims for a smooth experience. It's worth noting that the Xbox Series S does not have this toggle between modes either. Digital Foundry's scientific analysis is, of course, inbound, but what is clear at the early stage is there is a significant divide between the PC version of CyberPunk 2077 and the console versions. And it goes on to show a bunch of memes here that have come out. People who are clearly not happy with what is going on here with this game. And so, I also wanted to let you know that apparently, if you do play CyberPunk 2077 on the PS5, it runs closer to a 1080p resolution. It does get you to that 60 FPS, but as it said, the bugs, the glitches, they're all still there, and you're not getting anywhere close to a 4K resolution. So it really doesn't look that great, even on the PS5, apparently. And on top of that, if you are playing on the PS5, and this is relevant to me because I do have a PS5, and I'm sure some of you listening to this do as well, apparently there's a crashing issue, a consistent one, where the game just crashes consistently during longer play sessions. So yeah, I don't know what's up with that. And so what I want to do is just kind of talk about why this is a problem, what went wrong here, and what I think the solution could have been, maybe should have been. First of all, I'm not getting CyberPunk 2077 right now because it's painfully obvious this game was not ready to go for the current gen consoles. Either that, or if it was ready, it clearly just shouldn't have been put on the current gen consoles because they're just not powerful enough to run this game properly. And to me, that seems like the most likely scenario here. I say this because you think about how ambitious a game like Cyberpunk 2077 is. I think we can all agree that this is one of the most ambitious games ever, if not maybe the most ambitious. And it's been in development for so many years. It's been delayed so many times. And every time it's because they're saying that they have more they want to do. Like they know that they can do something bigger and better, and they really want to deliver something special. But at the same time, you can clearly see here that when you're playing the game on like a high-end PC, even though there are still a lot of bugs and a lot of glitches, and in that case, maybe the game still did need more time no matter what, it's clearly the better version, the best version by like not just a mile, but a couple of miles, to the point where it makes you wonder, like, how did they even get this game to even function on these consoles? We heard before that apparently they were having trouble getting it running on the base model Xbox One, and I'm sure it was the same for the base model PS4. Now we're seeing the results, and as somebody who is excited for this game, I'm gonna wait. I'm gonna have to wait to play this game, because if it is that good, I mean, it's weird because we're seeing how upset a lot of people are, and it's weird because the reviews that came out for this game, the bugs, the glitches were still there, but the game was only allowed to be reviewed on PC. So that should tell you all you really need to know about just how bad these last gen console versions are. People are not happy, to the point where I really have to wonder, like, why they, I mean, it's obvious why they decided to do this. They wanted to release the game no matter what on last gen consoles, because that's what the majority of people have. So I can't fault them for that. But I think where I can fault them is maybe they were just too ambitious. Maybe they didn't realize that by reaching this far and going this far, and we all like to see that. We want to see the biggest and best games we can see. But maybe by doing that, they made it like nearly impossible for them to actually make the game run the way it should run, at the expectation that level that people have right now for these current gen consoles. I think that may have been sacrificed in the process here, and we're now seeing that right in front of us. And even when you play it apparently on the PS5, which is what I have, it's not much better. You do get that higher frame rate, which is nice, but everything else is pretty much still there. And it just sounds like it's a terrible experience. So we know that CD Projekt Red is apparently going to be making full-fledged next-gen versions of this title. And because of that, I just feel inclined to wait to play it. I hope that those versions come sooner rather than later. I'm assuming they probably won't, simply because they're going to have to, I think, correct this situation. And I don't know how much they're going to be able to do to kind of save the PS4 and Xbox One version of this game. I assume that that's where their full focus is going to be for some time, if it's as bad as the reports are, claiming it is right now. And so because of that, I think the next-gen version is a ways off. And on top of that, they have to kind of keep in mind that, only so many consoles can be sold right now, because only so many consoles have been manufactured. So it is a question of sales numbers as well. You don't want to push out the next-gen version immediately. And this is exactly why they didn't just make Cyberpunk 2077 next-gen only. I'm going to be completely honest, I would have been perfectly fine if CD Projekt Red decided to delay the game for another year, or even another year and a half, because maybe they had to come out and just be completely blunt and say, look, this game became too ambitious. We decided we're just going to make it PC and next-gen only, so that way we can make the best possible version of the game, and we can ensure that anybody who does play the game is playing the best possible version of the game. That way they could have not only more time to polish the game, squash all the bugs, but they would be able to give it more time, the consoles, that is, to actually sell and have more people out there that can be ready to buy the game. I can understand why they didn't do this. This is exactly why they did need to release it on the current gen consoles, because that's where, again, most people are going to be. Most people are going to remain there for some time. They needed to capitalize on that for the sake of their sales numbers. So at that point, I really would have preferred if CD Projekt Red could have had enough foresight to realize that if you continue to make this game this ambitious, there's going to be a price to pay for it, and that is the last gen console versions. And that's where most people are going to be playing this game. So the sad truth of the matter is, right now, the majority of people who are playing Cyberpunk 2077 are not having a good time. They're having a bad time. They're getting a really, really watered down version of the game that's very, very, very far from reaching its full potential. And that's just sad to me. You know, that to me just goes against everything what this game is supposed to be. And that's why I'm going to wait. You know, I'm not a PC gamer. If I was, I'd probably have a really powerful rig right now and I'd be playing it on there. And if you are that person, then you're probably getting the closest thing to the ideal experience, if not the ideal experience, right? Just still taking into account the bugs. But right now, there's just a lot of people who are not getting that and they're upset, understandably so. I've seen a lot of people very upset because they were very excited for this game and they knew it wasn't going to look as good or perform as good as what we've seen because, you know, marketing dictates that they're always going to show the game in the best light. But it seems that it's not even meeting the bare minimum expectation and it's kind of a mess. So that's why I'm going to wait for the official PS5 version of the game. I don't want to play it via backwards compatibility. I have no desire to go out there and buy an extremely powerful high-end PC. I'm just going to wait, and it's unfortunate that this had to happen. So it's going to be interesting to see how it all plays out. I mean, based off of what reviewers are saying, it's a great game. Got a lot of 10 out of 10s. And so, you know, I'm hoping that this PS5 version comes sooner rather than later. But yeah, that's going to do it for the video, guys. Again, come hang out with me later tonight, 6:30 p.m. Eastern for the Game Awards. It's going to be a good time. Leave your thoughts down in the comments below. Leave the video a like if you enjoyed it. Subscribe if you're new. Hit the bell notification icon, and feel free to share this video out on top of all that. But until next time, guys, take care.